Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot and this week's Toxic Love reading for 3 random signs that I'm going to pull. We've got 1, 2, and 3. Leo, Aries, and Pisces. Wow. All right. So these are the 3 signs that I'm going to be doing the toxic readings for. So without further ado, let's jump right into Leo. All right, Leo, we have you right over here. So we're going to jump right in by pulling out your shadow energies for this toxic love reading to see what exact toxic energies you're dealing with. Haunted, uncomfortable, disillusioned, warning, and we have faithless. All right, guys. So let's begin to pull the cards for this toxic love reading. I'm going to pull cards for you and your person. So let's get right into it. For you, we have an 8 of Pentacles, karma or judgment, 4 of Swords, and the Hanged Man. Your person is coming in with 7 of Swords, King of Wands, Ace of Swords, and the 6 of Cups. At the bottom of the deck, you have a King of Cups. So in this shadow reading, toxic love reading, you know, King of Cups can present with a lot of sort of, I'm going to say, possessive, jealous, uncomfortable feelings, energy. All right. But let's get right into it. You and your person in this toxic connection. Yeah, you've been dealing with someone who's a bit of a hustler, Leo. You've been dealing with somebody who's a thief in the night, a trickster. You know, you've been working away. 8 of Pentacles is interesting. You've been kind of like, I want to say, just really focusing on your shit. You know, your job, your work, your money, you know, just holding things down, right? And your person is just kind of this individual who's just been up to no good. He or she has been up to shadiness. You know, a lot of kind of, 7 of Swords is very deceptive energy. It's treachery. You know, it's very treacherous. It's somebody who really seeks to undermine you. You know, it feels almost as if there's a lot of jealousy here. You know, when we look at these toxic feelings here, uncomfortable. This person, it seems as though this person is very, very uncomfortable with sort of your success, your ability to sort of, you know, be responsible, hold it down, go to work, take care of things. And it's like you know, this kind of toxic response here, it seems to come out of being uncomfortable, being jealous. Let's get some clarity here. Wow. Okay, so the Page or Daughter of Wands here for you. So freedom, really, and for them, a Wheel of Fortune. Interesting. So listen, you're coming in with very fearless energy. For you right now, you don't worry. You're not worried about this toxicity necessarily. You're being very, very fearless in terms of moving forward with your plans, moving forward with what you want to do, right? It's interesting because it feels almost as if you already know what's happening here with this person. I'm not sure that they know that you know what I'm saying? And you're kind of like, okay, yeah, you go ahead and keep doing what you're doing. You keep trying to think you're going to play me, trying to think you're going to get one over on me, right? But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're kind of slogging away at your goals and your plans. You're really not that worried about this issue with them. They're the ones who are really presenting with the strong toxicity here. And in a toxic love reading, it can go either way, Leo, right? I mean, I'm not just saying you're with a toxic lover. This is a toxic love reading. So sometimes the toxicity is on your part as well. And of course, these readings can be vice versa. But it just seems like you're kind of breaking free and like very almost unbothered by this person's actions. They have Wheel of Fortune energy coming in. So for them, there's events going on. There are events happening in their life and in your relationship, your connection with them, that is ultimately going to force them to have to come out in the open, right? I mean, a wheel of fortune, the wheel doesn't turn in a way to perpetuate toxicity. It turns in such a way so that toxicity can be exercised and brought out. Now, in terms of your relationship to each other, we have karma here and the King of Wands for them. So it's like you see them, you already know that they've built a lot of shiesty karma that they're going to have to pay for. You know that they're going to be wanting forgiveness. And it's almost like you're in a position of sort of power in a way, because you see everything that they're doing, Leo, and you see that ultimately they're the ones who are going to come crawling back to you and begging for forgiveness in a way from you. That's what I'm feeling here. For them, they have King of Wands in their sights when they see you. So King of Wands energy, I think they feel like you're very arrogant. Again, your confidence, Leo, is what bothers them. They take that confidence for arrogance. They see that you're doing quite well. They see that you're unbothered. And I feel like it really bothers them. It really bothers them, which is why they're resorting to such deceptive, kind of shisty, futile behavior. It's futile at the end of the day. Seven of Swords is the card for treachery and futility, because oftentimes treacherous actions don't serve you. You get nowhere with them, right? And this person is really very jealous, I'm going to say, in a way, of you and the way you've been able to sort of just move on. Let's get clarity here. 8 of Cups. That's what I'm talking about. The way you've been able to move on has really, shaken them up. Ace of Wands and an Ace of Swords for them. So for them, there's a real new realization coming in, a brand new realization in two ways. Passionately and mentally, they're realizing something as a result of your behavior. I think this is a toxic love connection, Leo, where you finally kind of stepped off, but you stepped off in such a way that was so unbothered, you know what I'm saying, that this has forced your person to really have an epiphany about their ways, their behaviors, and just suddenly really see something here, right? I think, yes, disillusionment comes in because I think now they're going to be feeling very disillusioned, because up until now, this person really thought they had their finger on the pulse of your relationship. Like they had it all figured out. They knew how to work you, manipulate you, etc. And now they're realizing that is absolutely not the case. What are you getting here? Well, you're stepping off completely. 8 of Cups, you have decided to completely walk away from this basically trash connection. You can see the glass is all broken. I mean, it's broken and trash, and it's like nothing you want. 4 of Swords, which is how you see yourself in this relationship. This connection here, you've not even bothered to give them an answer. All right, Leo? Like, you've pulled back from them in such a way that you've not even told them, hey, guess what? It's over. It's like you've said nothing. You're not saying anything. You're just pulling away. You're just immediately pulled away. You may have even ghosted this person. For some of you, Leos, you may have completely ghosted them and said, look, I think, like, said nothing. Just suddenly stopped calling, maybe blocked them, ghosted them, blocked them on all your social media, and then just sat back. And this person, and your person here, is like suddenly like, oh shit, what happened? Just like that. I thought I knew, you know what I mean? They thought they knew you. They thought they knew your arrogance. They thought they could play on you. See, King of Wands here is how they see you. King of Wands can sometimes present as an easy target to manipulate, because he can be quite childish and quite immature in his shadow. Well, I think your person believes that about you, right? Nevertheless, they're getting a wake-up call. Now, how final outcomes here? Well, check this out. Hanged Man energy here for you. Yeah, you choose to really, you've had an epiphany, I'm going to say here, right? This is a relationship, it feels like to me, where for a long time you have just kind of managed. You've kept the status quo with this person. You've continued to deal with them, even though they did things that you didn't really want, or, didn't really would normally never really accept behavior that you normally would never accept, and sort of you kind of hung around for. You're a bit lazy, but inspiration has come in for you to just absolutely leave this connection behind. And Hangman represents inspiration coming in a period of status quo. For them, Six of Cups comes in. You know, I think they feel a lot of love. Six of Cups is love. It's love. It's love for the past. It's nostalgia. It's remembering. You know, I think they're going to be remembering a lot of what happened between the two of you, a lot of the love, maybe even between the two of you. And they're going to be missing it. Let's get clarity on these three cards, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull some of your oracles. For you, it's the end. 10 of Wands. It's over. And the 3 of Wands for them. Yep. So for you, yeah, it's the end of a period, I'm going to say. Let's get back to the Hangman. It's an end of a period of hanging around and just, you know, carrying these weird burdens because you thought it was easier to just stick around instead of get out. You know what I mean? Or just put up with things. But it's over. You're done. You've just had enough of the shit you've been carrying in this relationship, and it's like you've decided to completely come down off that T-square. And for your person, 3 of Wands comes in. They are desperate for more information to come in about what's happening with you. You have definitely ghosted somebody. You know, you've definitely ghosted somebody, and they end up after this epiphany just really desperate to know what is happening with you. You know, let's get some. They're haunted. Yes, haunted comes to mind because I think they're haunted by a lot of their old behavior that's really led to this breakdown and to you finally leaving in such a way that they don't even. Growth, okay? For you, my dear, growth, right? Dying, evolving, all right? So, yeah, there's growth here, and this is what I'm thinking for you also, this Hangman energy. You know, you grow so strongly out of moving out of this relationship and just cutting this tie and just being fearless about your future. Like you really just resonated up and decided to take care of you, Leo, right? And not to be consumed sort of with this person, because the 7 of Swords is very, very treacherous, nasty energy. This is somebody who's really undermined you throughout this relationship, and it's probably taken quite the toll on you. And we have blessed reunion. Some of you may indeed have a blessed reunion, but it won't be with this person. I really don't think so, right? Blessed reunion. So some of you indeed may have someone who comes in. I come back to this King of Cups at the bottom of the deck. It's quite interesting. Your person isn't very possessive and you're not possessive. So indeed, this may indeed be, you know, as I read, this 7 of Swords individual could never be a king, shadow or otherwise. So it may indeed, this energy may indeed be someone who's coming in from your past, who is a previous divine masculine energy for you, connection for you. But of course, I really think more than anything, we have growth here. Okay, we have a lot of growth. You just kind of moving through. This beautiful oracle card is really an oracle deck to talk about those of us who are out of a breakup, alone, on our own. And yes, I think part of this energy here, and I do love this card, part of this energy is that when you make room in your life by cutting out toxic people, you make room for good things. And a blessed reunion is a good thing, is a beautiful thing. Let me pull out one more for my Wild Unknown Archetype deck. I love this deck. One more like little oracle card to see where you're at. Your person is definitely haunted. They're definitely uncomfortable, right? You know, disillusion comes in because it is a bit of a shock, you know, this epiphany that comes in for them. Alethea is all about the truth. All right. You know, speaking the truth, facing up to the truth, and, you know, speaking truth to power, right? Speaking your own truth, finding your own truth, right? And so especially in a reading like this, when you're dealing with someone who's had so much deception, truth is extremely important, and it's truth that kind of sets you free in this relationship. The truth that you find in yourself, the truth, that the truth about what you desire and what you need and what you're willing to put up with. And also, I'm going to say, when you're dealing with somebody like this, completely walking away as you do here and just shutting them down, they're forced to face themselves. And someone deceptive like this is going to be forced to face a lot of their lies, and they're going to be forced to have to sort of speak the truth at some point, see the truth at some point. And so, yes, a lot of growth. Truth is the oracle for this reading. Yeah, Leo, I'm going to leave it at that. This is your toxic love reading for the week, talking about you moving away from a toxic connection that is long overdue. All right, guys. All right, we're going to come right back with the Aries toxic love reading. All right, Aries, let's get right into the toxic energies that are surrounding this reading. Warning, cold. Wow. Disillusioned. Lust. And self-indulgent. Wow. All right. So these are some of the possible toxic energies swirling around this particular toxic love connection. Let's go ahead and pull out your cards for you and the person in this toxic connection. Show me what's going on for Aries. We have for Aries, 9 of Pentacles. Oh, the Devil, Shadow. 9 of Swords and the Page of Swords. Okay, and your person is coming in with 10 of Swords, Aries, the Moon, 3 of Pentacles, and we have the Empress. At the bottom of the deck, we have King of Wands. So, yeah, not surprising, King of Wands showing up. You are fire. King of Wands is fire of fire. We're going to come back to him, though. I'm not going to touch on him just yet. Let me go ahead and just take a look at your energies. You and this person in this toxic connection, you're coming in this week with 9 of Pentacles, a lot of money, a lot of, you are reaping the rewards of a lot of hard work this week. The cash flow is there, right? Nevertheless, you're kind of enjoying it all by yourself, you're on your own. Your person is coming in with a 10 of Swords. And so they're kind of at the end of a period, Aries. I feel like they're coming to the end of a long period of a lot of strife, a lot of arguing. They may be the ones who are presenting with this cold energy, okay? Because 10 of Swords implies here that they're kind of done. They're done with, a phase, a stage, a period of just back and forth arguing, blows to their ego. Yeah, things are coming in good for you, Aries, but I'm not entirely sure that this person wants to be there for it. Let's get some clarity. I'm going to pull it for them. Yeah, 5 of Wands. There you are. And we have Strength. So Strength card, also the card for Leo coming in. Some of you may be dealing with Leo. You might have some Leo energy in your chart, but let's go to them. I'm going to say right here that 5 of Wands over that 10 of Swords. Yeah, they have absolutely, they're absolutely done with being triggered, with fighting, with arguing. The 5 of Wands energy, they don't even want to be involved, right? They're done with the back and forth, the competitiveness. There may indeed have been some competitiveness here in a strange kind of way. And I'm going to come back to that feeling. But for you, you're coming in with strength, energy. Yeah, you're being strong about it. I think, disillusioned is one of the energies that comes in. It almost feels to me like this was a toxic connection that you really didn't care that much about. I'm going to be honest, right? It almost feels to me, Aries, like, okay, yeah, I was an asshole, but I don't care. Yeah, you're leaving me on my own to enjoy, the fruits of my labor. But guess what? I don't care. I'm all right with it. there's cold is right. Cold is the strongest energy I feel so far for this connection. Now, how do you guys see each other? Well, for you, when you see them, there's devil energy there, right? So there is an aspect of their energy that has really resonated in a dark way with you. So this was back and forth. I think you both made each other quite unhappy. They represented, a side that perhaps pulled you a little bit to the darker side of life. You know what I mean? Their behaviors may have been, they're resonating with moon energy, by the way, which I'll get to, but their behaviors, I feel Aries was resonating a lot of sort of addictive behavior. You know what I mean? Behavior that is risky behavior, a lot of drinking, a lot of, just risky, just out there, and I think that this is something perhaps that they brought out in you. So there wasn't all that much respect there for them. They have moon energy when they see you. They see you as someone who's very elusive. You're not telling them everything. I'm going to say that the arguments probably went back and forth, but at the same time, right now, the way you guys see each other, you see them as somebody who's like, oh, I just don't want you near me. You bring out the worst in me. They see you as somebody who's quite deceptive. You haven't been very honest with your feelings. You're the one who's been very, very cold. But as far as they're concerned, as far as your opinion of them is concerned, it feels like, they're starting to give you all the warning signs. That's why you have warning coming in too. I'm starting to feel that as well. Warning signs in terms of that devil energy, like, how you are, Aries, and something about them just brings out the worst, right? Okay, Seven of Swords. There's treachery here, deception, right? Lies, a lot of lies, and Ace of Wands. So for them, here's where it gets interesting, and this is what's really toxic here. Yes, they're finished and done, and it almost feels like you guys had a breakup, Aries, right? You guys had a breakup, you had a fight, and they're like, yeah, I'm done. But because they can't really read you, and because it may be that you are lusting after someone else, because with this moon energy, they're really not able to read your feelings. They're really not able to see you, and not knowing brings them right back around to wanting to engage again. It brings them right back around to wanting to start up again, wanting to carry on. It's like, this is one of those on again, off again relationships that is a nightmare. It's like whenever it's off, they're like, the person is like, yeah, it's off. I'm done with you. And it's like 3 days later, they're back at your door. They're back on your phone. They're back in your DMs. You know what I'm saying? And you're just kind of, and all you can see is treachery. Listen, I feel like as well, here we have, yeah, Seven of Swords and Nine of Swords energy. It feels to me, Aries, like you don't trust this person anymore. You already see them as devil energy. You already see them as bringing the darker side of you out, of your life out. But it's like this way they have of leaving, breaking up, you guys breaking up, and them kind of very insidiously coming back in. You've gotten to a place where you don't believe them, you don't trust them, and you're having anxiety about them being around. Like Nine of Swords, that's anxiety. You're starting to have like sleepless nights and stuff, like you're just kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with this person anymore. I just don't want to deal with them anymore. Right? And, I don't trust them. I don't trust their motivations. Let's get some clarity, some more. Five of Cups. Wow. And Three of Swords, the betrayal comes in. Yeah, so for you, I'm going to say, Aries, you're beginning to lust after someone else. Even though this lust energy is dark energy, it could indeed be dark energy in as much as you're just kind of following, your lustful side, right? Because there's a betrayal here, right? Three of Swords comes in for them. So they feel betrayed. you know? So it almost feels like, listen, I'm going to give you the perfect scenario here, Aries. It's like you're in this toxic connection with this person. You guys had a fight and broke up. You may have gone ahead and slept with somebody else, and now they're coming back and they're feeling all betrayed and hurt and all of this. But you're coming from the point of view of, well, look, we were broken up, and on top of it, I'm done with all this. Or are you? You know, but in any case, you're like, well, we were broken up, right? Listen, some of this sleepless nights energy here might be because you know that you sleeping around while you were broken up was really not on, because it's a breakup, but is it a breakup? You guys break up and get together all the time. And so like being like, well, yeah, you broke up with me. So yeah, I slept with somebody else. You know, deep down inside that that was the shiesty thing to do, because you know deep down inside that this breakup was impermanent. And so you're kind of using semantics. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of, and so for some of you, Aries, it's giving you a lot of anxiety and sleepless nights because you feel guilty about it, right? That's why. That's the clarity here we're getting with that. This is where those sleepless nights are really coming from. The treachery here, the deception. Yeah, I believe that, you know, for them, there may have been some deception, but it's starting to feel much more like, for the most part, it is you who's very deceptive, sly, strategic, because they see you as that here with this moon. They can't read you and they don't know what you're up to. Now, they're the ones who kind of like get the worst out of you, but by the same token, you have not necessarily been as honest as you could have with them, rather. And you know, some shicey things happened here that of course is going to make them feel betrayed. But the truth of the matter also here with this Five of Cups is that, you know, this is a toxic connection that needs to be done and over, right? You guys just continually break up, get together, break up, get together. Then you hurt each other. You're sleeping around. They're like, you know, always getting you back. When they get you back, they take you down, you know, down a dark path. And the next thing you know, you're doing risky shit, you know, self-destructive stuff. And that's how they're getting you back. And it's just like a really awful, awful cycle here of hurting each other, you know, and there really just is nothing positive here. There's no growth here. Page of Cups comes in, Five of Cups here. Page of Swords over that Five of Cups. Yeah, you're beginning to see some clarity. You're beginning to see that this really has to stop and has to end, right? They come in with Empress energy. They take some time for themselves. They walk away and take some time for themselves. But honestly, there is no upside to this here. You know, this is like an open-ended, just toxic thing here. And it's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yes, it's self-indulgence comes in because I think you're both being quite self-indulgent. There is a sexual, lustful component to this connection that is maybe what's allowing it to continue. You know, you guys lust after each other, but aside from the physicality, there's just really nothing here but like just pain. Support comes in, your oracle card, support, right? So discouraged or encouraged, take that as it comes to you. Let's pull out another oracle for you. Yeah, this is and you know what the thing is, Aries, it's up to you. Do you want to carry on with this? Like, you know, is the lusting, is the physicality of this relationship kind of worth all that back and forth? Because you're clearly cheating on him anyway. Your truth is powerful. Okay? Your truth is powerful. Your truth. What is your truth? Is your truth that you're happy in this connection or not? You know, if you find a need to step out of the connection, if you're resonating with this, okay, Aries, and do sound off in the comments, you know, hit that like button or subscribe. I'm going to throw that out there for you guys. All that helps my channel. I appreciate it. But if you're resonating with this and you know to a degree that you're unhappy, you're sleeping around anyway because you're unhappy, and this back and forth just is so gross. You know, it just feels so toxic. The coldness that's here in between, and there just isn't any love here. You know, there really isn't any love. There is a lot of self-indulgence. Your person is going to be self-indulging over this next few weeks because you're going to be in a doghouse, and here we go on the roller coaster again. So let me go ahead and pull out a wild unknown archetype oracle for you, and then I'm going to close this reading, Aries. But, you know, the choice is yours. Do you want to continue with this? I can't imagine that you're happy in this connection because it doesn't feel very happy. And at the very least, it doesn't feel like there is very much love here. We have the Judge. All right, the Judge, you know. I mean, who, you know, judge, it's like, and that makes sense because it almost feels like you guys, you know, who's judging who? You're judging them, they're judging you. You're both acting like you're both kind of, I don't know, you're both bringing toxicity to this connection, right? You're both, you know, and it's very tit for tat. So Judge energy is there, you know, like you're judging them, they're judging you, and then the retribution comes and the back and forth, and it's like, where does it end? You know, where does it end? The competitiveness here in terms of who is getting one over on who, or who's gotten who back, and it's extremely childish, and it seems very exhausting. And I would say, Aries, that you know, the choice is yours if you want to continue in something like this. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. That is the toxic love reading for Aries, and we're going to come right back and get into Pisces. All right, Pisces, it's all about you now in this toxic love reading. So let's go ahead and pull out the toxic love energy surrounding this connection. Envious, walking away, unavailable, uncomfortable, and pain. Wow. All right, so those are the 5 toxic energies in this connection, possibly, right? We may be dealing with one or all of them or just a couple of them, but we're going to see how that, how the cards lay, right? So let's go ahead and pull out your spread. We're going to pull out cards for you and your person in this toxic connection. So Pisces, we have 10 of Swords. We have a 6 of Swords moving away. We have a King of Cups. And we have 5 of Wands. Your person comes in with 4 of Wands. Temperance, 5 of Pentacles, and the Magician. So, bottom of the deck, 7 of Swords. So, the 7 of Swords has shown up for all 3 of the signs for this week's toxic love reading. So, that's quite interesting. We did Aries and Leo before you, Pisces. And so, all 3 of you, right? 2 fire signs and a water sign. So a lot of treachery this week for you 3 signs, a lot of deception, a lot of antics that are really quite futile. It's the card for treachery and futility. But let's go ahead, Pisces, and we're going to take a look at how you guys are coming into the week with this toxic connection. 10 of Swords energy for you, Pisces. You're done. You're done. You know, you're coming to the end of pain and turmoil and strife, but we're going to get clarity. We'll see how this pans out. This is the initial energy. Your person comes in with 4 of Wands, which is stability, right? Stability, happiness, love, passion, very stable passion. 1111 card, twin flames energy. So listen, you know, you're done and they're happy. What's going on there, right? So let's go ahead and, you know, we have pain and walking away. So, you know, let's go ahead and clarify this 10 of Swords first of all, so we can see what's going on here with this energy for you, Pisces. 5 of Swords. Wow. So fighting and arguing, a lot of arguing. You're done. There's a battle here that you're just done with. 8 of Cups and walking away. Yeah, this is a breakup. This is a big breakup. I'm gonna say though, listen, it feels like to me, like you're walking away, but this person wants more. Right? You know, how do you see each other? Let's get into that, but then we'll go further because this fighting here, this 5 of Swords, it's like, oh my God, it's an exhaustive kind of fight that you're just done with. And then you come in with 6 of Swords. When you see this person, you just want to turn away, walk away. That's the energy here, right? Walk away. That's how you feel when you see them, just like wanting to walk away. They see you, they have temperance energy. They're trying to temper their feelings. They're trying to sort of Stay focused, stay calm. I think, yes, you're the one walking away from them, but because it's been a nightmare being with them, they somehow seem to indicate as if they're okay. It seems to me like they're all right. Maybe they don't. It can only also be that they may not have seen how unhappy you were, because they have an eight of cups here, right? So definitely a leaving, a walking away, a moving on. And yet they're trying to stay sort of measured. They're trying to stay calm. They're trying to not let it upset them. Ace of Cups. Okay, so maybe that's why you're moving on, because you fall in love with somebody else, right? And justice, balance coming in for them. Yeah, so there's been a lot of strife, a lot of arguing. You have not been happy in this love connection at all. You have not been happy in this toxic connection, and a new love has come in. Envy comes in. Right? Yes. Envious, walking away, pain. I think your person is the one who's dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of envy, perhaps. Yes. Especially if you're coming in with the Ace of Cups, if you're coming in with new love, a new connection. Justice comes in for them. Some of you may be dealing with somebody who has Libra energy in their chart, or is a Libra Pisces, but there's a rebalancing that needs to come in here. You were definitely the one, I wanted to say, in this connection who was holding it down. Okay. You have King of Cups. They have five of Pentacles. Listen, it could be here, Pisces, that you were the breadwinner. It may be, in fact, that you were the one holding this relationship down, because you were the one taking care of everything, making sure everything is okay, making sure bills and things like that were taken care of. Also, because that was your role. It seems to me that you like to have a dominant role in relationships. And so you're kind of the head of the relationship, as it were. You're presenting with that strong King of Cups energy, being responsible for making sure everything, making sure that you guys are, I don't know, taken care of, right? That the mechanics of the relationship are healthy, yet they bring sort of a loss here. They bring a feeling of needing help and support. So it feels to me, Pisces, like perhaps, you got tired of having to take care of them. You got tired of the burden, the arguments, the fighting. Yes, they're happy, but they're happy to, in a sense that, if you were the one holding it all down, right, and taking care of them, they're happy. And yet you were unhappy to the degree that you left. You're leaving. Six of Swords energy. You've left. Okay. Absolutely have walked away. Now, Seven of Swords is here. There's futile energy. I feel like there may be some behavior here. And on your part as well, Pisces, in as much as this is just very deceptive energy here. You could have been a bit, it may be that you were deceptive here in this new love connection. You may have cheated on this person. Let's get some more clarity. Nine of Cups, you're happy now, but, and 10 of Swords. Wow. Okay. Right. So 10 of Swords energy here. Again, an end. 10 of Swords over 10 of Swords. An end of fighting, arguing, burdens. An end to sort of just a lot of strife. And it's interesting that you come in with this energy. Your person comes in with this energy too. Ultimately, I think in the end here, you both kind of come out better for it. They're more heartbroken, right? But you both kind of realize it's the end. It's time for you both to be away from each other. They're heartbroken. You're the one who's left, but you both were very unhappy. And they realize that now that you've gone. Nine of Cups comes in over that Five of Wands. Again, here you have Five of Swords energy, like just all the arguing and the back and forth, but this Five of Wands is more of the same, but much more competitive. It's interesting. You're quite happy with this new love connection, and yet strife follows you. Pisces. Strife follows you here. So, you know, there's an energy here of realizing that it may be that some of the strife and the arguing and everything you're trying to get away with from here, to a degree, some of it was, of course, what you've brought on, because you're happy here with your new love connection, and yet strife continues to follow you. So there may be a lesson in that. Your person comes in with magician energy. They too come to the end and realize that, yeah, it's better we break up, because, you know, they have much more an epiphany about how unhappy they truly are after you've left. And they really come into their own with that magician energy, you know, so they resonate, they resonate well and healthy moving forward. I just think there's been a lot of deception here at some point. May indeed have been from you, Pisces, only because you're the one who's really moved on. Okay. But your person is the one who's been heartbroken here. Okay. Your person is, it's funny how this turns around, right? You leave because you're very unhappy, Pisces. You're unhappy with the fighting. You're unhappy with a lot of the arguing, the games that have been played here. There's been a lot of head games played here. And your person thought they were still happy to move on. Even though you're the one who sort of pulled the trigger on this relationship, it's almost as if now that you guys are apart from each other, they're realizing how unhappy they were, right? And they're kind of moving on. But you move on with somebody else, but a lot of your unhappiness follows you. And I think that you may come later on to an epiphany and understanding. Let's get the other oracle cards out before I deal with this one. And understanding that you may need to do some shadow work on yourself. I think you begin this process blaming this person for all of it. And I think you come out of it realizing that maybe you're to blame for some of it as well. Inner child, are you receptive or are you careless? At some point there will be a need to sort of face up to whatever issues you've brought to this relationship, to this connection, right? Especially if they follow you. If you continue to have strife now, even though now you're the one who's happy and you have strife. It's almost as if the roles have been completely reversed, except you're with somebody else. To walk the lonesome road. All right? Yep. On your own. I think that you may find yourself, this almost feels like a rebound here now. You moving away and boom, rebounding, but coming right back into the same issues. And ultimately finding yourself on your own because you need to do some shadow work, Pisces. Your person, yes, they're almost incidental. Yeah, they have the heartache. You've walked away. They have the pain. But they kind of come out of this realizing that this was probably the best for them. And ultimately, it's you who has to do a lot of the shadow work here. It's difficult when you leave somebody, you break up with somebody, and you realize that in fact you were the one who was bringing a lot of the toxicity. I mean, it is what it is. We all have to do shadow work at some point, and it's because of a realization. There we go. What's flipped over? The gem and vision. I'm going to take both of those. So we have the gem and vision. The vision. Okay, seeing, really, the vision. Seeing what's really at play here. Having a vision also for your life and the type of life that you want to have. And understanding what that all takes. The gem. Really talking about, the gem that we all have within us and how important it is to let the true beauty of ourselves shine out. And in order to do that, you have to get to that gem. You have to get down to it and get all of the other stuff off of it. And it involves a lot of shadow work. Okay? It involves a lot of shadow work and involves a lot of self reflection, introspection, etc. It involves walking a lonesome road for a little while and getting in touch. All these oracle cards fit in nicely with this message. You were getting in touch with your inner child. Because of that work that needs to be done. right? Which I think you realize as a result of this particular connection and the way that it kind of ends and where you find yourself after ending it and having moved on with somebody else and yet still not still not having resolved any of those issues of strife, being happy, but continuing to have strife, which is an issue. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Pisces, this is your toxic love reading for the week. Today, we pulled 3 signs to do toxic love readings on. That was Leo, Aries, and Pisces. Thank you so much. If you resonated with any of these readings, please share the video, like, subscribe, comment. All of those wonderful things really help my channel. I appreciate when you take the time to do that. So that's that shout out taken care of. But for the rest, guys, this is Bow and Arrow Tarot. I wish you all love, life, and happiness. And I hope to see you guys here back on my channel next Monday for the weekly toxic love reading for 3 random size. Bye-bye now.